Mostafa Salameh is a world-renowned adventurer, humanitarian, and motivational speaker. He is the first Arab and Muslim climber to have completed the Explorer's Grand Slam, a challenge that includes climbing the highest peaks of the seven continents and skiing the North and South Poles, and one of the only 20 people in the world to have achieved this feat. In 2017, Mustafa also skied across Greenland from north to south. However, his lived experience that led him to push his physical side was so different to the one he now lives. Mustafa was a young refugee who escaped the Kuwait War to Jordan in hope of a better life and with ambitions of going to university. However, life continued to be challenged and access to further education was once again stolen from him following the Gulf War. His career turned to waiting tables, and a chance conversation saw him traveling to the UK to support the hospitality team at the Jordan embassy. Mustafa's dream to finish his schooling still burned strong. He pushed himself to pursue this, further resulting in completing a BA in International Hospitality and Tourism Management, a MA in Outdoor Education Studies, and recently awarded an honorary doctorate from Queen Margaret University in Edinburgh. Mustafa went on to author a number of books, including Dreams of a Refugee, Everest Dare to Dream, and Journey of Ascension and Rising. As a passionate advocate for inspiring young people to pursue their dreams, as well as an international motivational speaker, he has established a number of successful humanitarian initiatives, which have raised over $6 million to date. He has received numerous accolades for his work, including the Medal of Independence from King Abdullah of Jordan in 2008 and the Medal of Courage in 2018. Through his own lived experiences, Mustafa leaves his audience feeling inspired, motivated, and understanding the power of teamwork and collaboration to enhance performance. Hello, my name is Cristina Maldonado, and I'm here today with you on Talking with Sprout for an amazing conversation and interview with Mostafa Salameh. I think that that's how it should be pronounced. I'm getting there. And so let's start this candid conversation with you. And I would like to start with a sentence that you mentioned to me a while ago, which is, "You are just a normal guy doing extraordinary things." I love that concept. So, who is this normal guy that does extraordinary things?
My name is Mostafa Salameh. I'm 53 years old. I would call myself a mountaineer, an author, and a motivational speaker. I am one of 20 people on the planet to finish the Grand Slam or complete the Grand Slam of mountaineers and polar adventure, which is climbing all the seven summits of the world, including Everest, and skiing the South Pole, the North Pole, and Greenland. So that's briefly who I am now. How I present myself, but also I, I like to make people dreams come true. So I work with lots of organization, from cancer survivor to cancer centers to blind society to disabilities, and I climb mountain to fundraise money. So since 2013, when I start this concept, I managed to fundraise $7.2 million for different charity. And I will say this is the biggest achievement for me. It's not just about taking the flag to the top of Everest or skiing the South Pole or North Pole. For me, making a difference is what I call achievement.
Amazing. Amazing. Taking that, um, and for our audience to know a bit more about you. So I read your profile, and I went through lots of information about you, and you are a Palestinian refugee, right? So, and you went through lots of grand slams in your life in terms of the high mountains that we have to climb and go down and back. And so in life, how does someone that with your background, how do you get from being a refugee and facing the grand slams of life in that context? How did you go from there to the actual putting the flag?
Sure. Sure. So, I mean, I guess I never felt as a refugee. Like wherever I went on all this country, I always felt part of where I am from. I think my mom and dad are definitely a refugee because they had to leave Palestine to come to Jordan. So they took refuge in Jordan. And then again, they traveled to Kuwait and took refuge in Kuwait. And then I was born in that environment, and an environment that it was, very, we lived a very, very simple life. It was my mom and dad, and then I have 10 brother and sister. We lived in a two-bedroom flat, one room for with 9 bunk beds. So we all slept in one room, and my mom and dad had their room, and then we have a small little living room where we sat there, ate there, watched TV, and did everything there. So it wasn't that small, but it was a happy place. My dad was a truck driver. My mom was the housewife. But at night, my dad was an actor. He used to do plays. And this is the life we lived. And, it was a beautiful life. And, for me, I always have that big dream that I want to come out from this small little place, the refugee, become a refugee from my mom and dad, and to go to a bigger place. So for me, I always had my big dreams, and I always knew that, I wanted to make the change to help my family to have a better life and to have a better place and to have a better. So it's always about the family. So that's the concept for me. I mean, I did not feel when I was in Kuwait, I studied in Kuwait. Kuwait gave me education, but also I wasn't from there. I always looked for a place to belong to. And in the same time, wherever I went, I always tried to adapt to be part of this place. And, through my life, Jordan was the place. I identify myself as a Jordanian, but I have a Palestinian blood that come from mom and dad. And I would say I adopted Scotland to be my home because I loved Scotland. That's why when I go to any mountain or anywhere, I always take the Jordanian flag, Palestinian flag, and the Scottish flag. And I wear my kilt on the South Pole. And so Scotland gave me so much. So Scotland made me believe that dreams come true. And Jordan, helped me through His Majesty to help me to come to where I am now and help me with my dream. And Palestine it's always been my I would say my compass. It's always there, looking at this place as a place of my ancestor, a place of the beauty, a place that I cannot go to. And so I have this mix of wherever I went, I always try to understand, love the place, give the place everything I can and what it gave me, and understand everything. So, yeah, so the story started there and then moved little by little. So when I finished school, I really wanted to go to university. I was good at school, but it's either when the Kuwait when the Gulf War happened, we have to go back to Jordan. So my dad lost all his business, so and his work. So I have to work. So I finished high school and I start working as a waiter. And I couldn't go to university. It's either me going to university or my brother and sister to stay at school. So I start working as a waiter since I was 18. And, to be honest, I always wanted to go to Europe. It's not, in my where I am from, people always wanted to go to United States, to North America. For me, I always was fascinated, especially by Britain, because of Shakespeare, because of William Shakespeare, that I used to read it in Arabic, and I used to fantasize about the place. And the first time I went to London in 1991, I thought everyone talked like Shakespeare, but then this was in the English. I was thinking they talk, but yeah, I think that was the move for me. I always believed that there is something better coming for me, and I always believed that 100% in my heart. So when I was in Jordan, I was serving a table at a restaurant that I worked. It's actually called. It was a Swiss restaurant. We used to do fondue and stuff in Jordan. It's very famous, Swiss. It's called Swiss Tavern. And then I was serving this table, and this guy told me, "Do you want to go to London? My brother is the Jordanian ambassador, and he wants somebody to clean in the house and make coffee." And I said, "Yes." So, 21 years old, I moved from this small little flat where we used to live with my mom and dad, 12 of us, to this most prestigious place in England, in London, called Solana Square, Belgravia Place, and living in this beautiful Victorian house. I had a room for myself for the first time in my life, in this beautiful Victorian house, and this is where I started my journey in London. I did not speak then any English, and the ambassador was speaking with me in Arabic and the whole. So I didn't really felt that I've learned anything, and it was a choice for me to go back to Jordan or risk it, leave leave the ambassador, and then go and find something different so I can pursue my dream.
That's amazing. And I saw on an interview that you gave that you've learned English from the Sesame Street, which is
Yes,
amazing.
absolutely. So I mean,
It's an amazing story.
when I finished with the ambassador, well, when I left the ambassador, I went to find a job, and every time I go to a restaurant to say, I'm a waiter, but they said, "Well, you don't speak any English." So, and I thought, okay, then I need to speak English. So I worked in the kitchen. So I was washing dishes for many years, and then this is what I used to do. I used to go up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Sesame Street start at 7. I used to watch Sesame Street for half an hour, write 10 words, 5 sentences. And then I used to pick up a newspaper called The Sun, which is, not the most intelligent newspaper, but it was easy. The English was easy to read on it. So I used to pick it up, go to the restaurant. I used to do double shift. I used to start at 9 o'clock in the morning, clean the whole restaurant, and get in the kitchen, work, and then I put the 10 words and 5 sentences in front of me, and I used to keep repeating them and then practice the sentences with the people who were mostly English working there. So that's really how for 5 years I did that, and I start. becoming better and better. And this is when I always stand in this sink, or I was cutting, onions or making the garlic and stuff all day. And I always dreamt myself to become a general manager for a five-star hotel. And the reason I want to become a general manager for a star hotel, so I can travel the world. And I said, that's my mission. So what I did, I have a plan. I said, I have two shifts. I'm earning good money. I used to send 50% of my wages to my mom and dad. So my brother and sister stay at school. 25% I used to put it inside. I used to hide it in this little place that they gave me to live in a restaurant, because I didn't have a bank account. Then 25% I spent. And 7 years later, 1998, I have enough money to go to university. So, and I didn't know where I want to go until one day in 1997. I was at the movie theater, and I was watching Braveheart, and I watched Mel Gibson, Scottish Guild, and he was talking about, you can take our land, but you will never be able to take our freedom. And I was fascinated by Scotland, and I started reading about Scotland, and then I made the journey to go to Edinburgh for 3 days holiday. And I looked at the castle, and then I fell in love with the city, and I thought, that's it. That's where I'm gonna go. I found out there is a beautiful, there is a university called Queen Margaret University, a very good hospitality hotel management. And this is where I enrolled with the university. I moved to Scotland. I knew absolutely not a single soul. I've rented this pavement flat. I applied for university, and then I was there in June, and then I would have 3 months to start the university. So I was very excited. I found a job as a waiter to work in this a restaurant called Buffalo Grill. And then I always wanted to play the Moonlight Sonata, of like the first and second and third movement. I always listened to it, and I always wanted to play it. So I was walking through the street of my house, and I saw this piano place, and then I asked him if he hired a piano, and he said yes. So I hired piano for 6 months. It was like £350. And then I told him, do you know any teacher? He said to me about this woman. Her name is Mrs. Stewart. I went there. She was about 75 years old, amazing woman. And we become very good friend. And I went there. I said to her, I want to learn how to play Moonlight Sonata. I said, okay, you need to learn the how to read the music. I said, no. I just want to play Moonlight Sonata, D minor, first and second and third movement. That's what I want to do. So 6 months later, I mastered playing Moonlight Sonata, and then I took the piano back, and then I started university. I studied for 4 years. I joined the Sheraton in my second years. I was training with the Sheraton and finished university. In 2004, I become the director of food and beverage manager for the Sheraton Hotel. And I knew I had 2 3 years to become a general manager. I've learned how to, I've learned another languages. I've learned sign language. I was fascinated by sign language. So I've learned international sign language, English sign language. And then everything changed in 2004 in January when I wake up from a dream. So all this changed. So, but everything I did through all my life to say, I want to achieve this, I want to achieve this, change when I wake up from this dream or this reality that I saw. I wake up from the middle of the night. I saw myself in the top of the world praying for peace. Now, I've never climbed a mountain. I had absolutely no fitness whatsoever. I was smoking too many cigarettes, and the only exercise that I used to do is to go clubbing in a weekend and dance for 8 hours and then recover for a whole day and then come back again to work. So that's how, that's the start of my mountaineering career.
um, not having such an adventurous life, I resonate with you in so many aspects, because I think we all have our own past and history. And I think what's really important is not what happened, but how, or what's happening in your life. What really matters is how you deal with it and what do you do with it. So I so resonate with you. And also, yeah, and also living in foreign countries and traveling, I found out that home, whatever you want to call home, is where your heart lays. So when you feel that your heart lays in there, it's where you belong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so.
So
I always believe that.
those
It,
those are some of my life lessons.
totally. I love it. And that's, this is something I've learned as well, through my life. And I always learn that if I want to make a change, I have to make the change in myself first to be able to make the change, the bigger change. And that's what I did in every stage of my life, is to make the change within me that I can make the change outside of me rather than out, because then I won't go absolutely nowhere.
So any meaningful change begins within you. That's where it really begins. And I'm really fascinated. I really resonate with your story because I know how it feels to feel that we are meant to be much more and go higher, and the basic life values that come along with us are what really makes us move on, move forward. And you talk a lot about family, how family is important, and how overcome and pursue dreams. Um, Another thing is I really feel, and I've learned that a dream is just an idea until you turn it into a goal, right? So ideas might not come true, goals they come true. So what what actually drove you, like from here, from your heart? So because we move on in life, right? And we know that what past is past, and what's in front of us is so much more important than what we're leaving behind us. So what was, like, the inner gut that made you move on, and how did that particular dream changed your in your chemical brain, like.
Yeah. I always believe, I love people. I love learning from people because, we learn from our heroes. We learn from a book that we read. And, there is different things in my life and stages. And, there is a big things for me by a scholar called Arazi. He's a great Arab scholar. He used to be a chemist, a philosopher, and he says that مولد العبقرية هي تلك اللحظة. The birth of genius, or the brilliance, is when you discover your passion. And passion can be something that it can drive you to achieve the impossible. And I always knew my passion is definitely to help other people, to make a change, to make the world that I live in is a better world. I start with my family. I made the change there. I knew the big change I made with my family and my mom and dad, my brother and sister. So that one thing. The other things is a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, which and actually when I went and did the South Pole, I took the same book with me to the top of Everest and the South Pole, and I sent it to Paolo, and he sent me a beautiful letter, and he put some stuff in the social media about me. And I've learned from the book that, I've learned in the book one thing that always resonate with me, that when you want something and you believe it in your heart 100%, the whole world will come together to help you do it. So this is the other thing. And the other one is Picasso. And Picasso, since he was a little kid, he always drew, and people, he always thought it's not the greatest painting, but he said something that also resonated with me, which he said that everything you can imagine is real. So anything. When I had that dream, I had these three things coming together. And I knew what I saw is real. And I knew what I saw, that something, it's a signal that come from God, something bigger than me, that, you destiny is not what you're doing now. Your destiny is this. And everything that you have done in your life, it's brought you to this moment to believe that you can do it. And that's why I believed it. Even never slept in a sleeping bag or tent, or never. I actually, truly, I thought Everest was in America. I had no idea where Everest was, or what Everest, or how you climb it. So, but I believe from my heart, my soul, my mind, that I can do it. And I knew when I told my friend, because everyone knew what I wanted to do in my life, my family. And when I told my friend, everyone, I guess the family, thought, what's wrong with me? Other people think I was mental. And then my close friend thought I was on something. I was taking something. I said I didn't take any night. That night I was super, absolutely super. So believed on it, and I always believe, if you believe in something, if you're passionate something, you need to have the knowledge, and the knowledge is that you need to read about it and understand it and to try to achieve it. So it was not an easy thing to go through, because you need the sponsorship. I didn't have the money to be able to climb Everest and do the training and do what I did. So I had to plan it. But from the beginning, when I sat that night, when I wake up and I Googled Everest, and I Googled where Everest and how you climb Everest, and I knew how difficult it was, then I said to myself, I looked at the mirror and I said to myself, I will definitely do it. I will never give up until I go to the top of this mountain, and I'm gonna do it. And that's where, that's what it drove me, I would guess. And it become passion. Passion is the most amazing thing. If you're passionate about what you do in life, you will definitely reach further than anywhere you ever think.
Love and passion, it's energy in motion, so energy in motion. And it's really interesting. I don't know if you ever heard about Viktor Frankl.
Yes, of course.
And this amazing book, "Man in Search of a Meaning."
Hmm.
It's amazing, because we really need to find our meaning, and we really need to find our passion and our purpose, so that everything makes sense.
Yeah,
And that's what gives you the courage, the bravery to go against all those voices that tell you, "No, you're mad, you're lunatic, you're mental." So that's what brings you the bravery
yeah,
to 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 move with that conviction that comes from within you,
yeah.
right? So your your achievements, by being one of the 20 people on earth climbing the Grand Slam, what does that bring to you as a message to people? Because not everyone, I would never climb the Grand Slam, because um, I don't see myself doing it. I see myself doing other things. I love horse riding, for instance. So it's a completely different thing. But we all go through the grand slam of life so many times. So what did that bring to you as a message to the world that made you write 3 books, at least that I know of, and that made you 4 books,
Yeah.
great, 4 books, and that made you become this voice, like, because it's all about how do you make your voice being heard? How do you become people's voice in terms of how to overcome the grand slam of life?
You know, I think the most important things, I think it's when like you have to believe in yourself when nobody else does. This is something that you have to put it there, and you have to completely ignore everything around you who tell you this is not gonna work, because everyone have their different stuff. And then when you have a dream, and because the dream I have is an actual dream, I was sleeping and I saw myself, and I knew it was real because I wake up completely sweating. I've felt it so much. And I think when you have the dream, you have to grab it with everything with you and never let it go. So you have to
Every single cell of your body,
absolutely.
every single.
Absolutely. And, and again, we go back, doing all of this stuff, then you have to make the change within yourself. I have to stop smoking. I have to get fit. I have to do all this. I have to have the knowledge. I have to do everything. And then I have to find a way to get the sponsorship. For me, when I tried and I thought to myself, I went and I asked people and I was trying to see how I'm going to get the sponsorship. And no one believed me. I straight away remember Christopher Columbus because I've read this book, and I think every book I've read then it led me to understand what should I do next. Because reading books is not just about you are learning something in the book. No, it's about you have an action of what you learned, because that's the experience. So and this is where it led me to the King of Jordan, because I know Christopher Columbus, he funded his expedition to go to different places via France and Queen of
Mhm.
Spain. And so I thought this is where I should go. And if this guy believed in me, I think I'm going to definitely be able to do lots of stuff. So this is where the beginning starts. This is where I start replacing everything. I always try to put all the negative stuff in front of me and to turn it to positive. So when I'm doing anything, I know how to turn everything into positive. So was maybe the thing that I thought, okay, I have to have a plan, and the plan have to be a short. I have to do it short, middle, and
Short.
long. I have to go step by step. I cannot just go straight into things. So, and that's what I did. I have to be patient. And I have, in the end of the day, I have to know that that's exactly what I want. And I knew that's exactly what I want. And I always vision and visualize myself in the top of that mountain. And I know I didn't make it from the first time. I didn't make it from the second time, but I went back in the third time and I stood in that top of that mountain. So yeah. So I think that's maybe, I don't know if this is answer your question or not, but yeah.
It does, because when we run programs for personal development, those are the key topics that we address, like
Okay.
how, yes, how to develop your self talk,
Okay.
how to turn the negative into positive, your own truth, because your truth is different from other people's truths, so stick to your own and listen to your inner voice. Also, how can you build resilience, patience, uh, courage, all the things that you've mentioned. And also, we must have the big goal over there, but then we need to plan backwards. I mean, so to go there, what are the small steps that I need to break the journey into so that I can achieve the big thing? And visualize it, make it so you summarized a whole program of personal development, which is amazing. And how did that come into books and into motivational speaker and sending a message to youth? Why? What kind of message do you think that? Because we are almost the same age.
Yeah.
I saw your profile, so we are from a different generation. What kind of message do you think these youth of today needs from people like you, a regular guy doing extraordinary things?
I think I would say, I would definitely say to people that wherever you go and whatever you do, whatever your dream is, if no one ever been there or done it, nobody will understand what your endeavor is. And you will hear all the reason why not to do it. People will always give you the reason why not to do it. And they will be very good reason. They will give you brilliant reason. But most of them are reasonable and even quite profound. So you will think, oh, wow. But I can tell you all about the many deaths I had died in theory when people predicted what will happen to me. And then from a rational perspective, I would say that they were right, but um, our dreams are rational. I guess not, because I still did what I did. So I proved to did what I did because I did it. Now, because my inner spirit and my soul led me to do it, and I never questioned. I always followed my heart. I don't follow my mind. Uh, if I follow my mind, there is so much reason why not to do things. If you follow your heart, then the heart will lead you to do, and the mind will try to tell you how to do it, not why not to do it. So, and for me, it's never been about achieving a target. It was all about the journey that I'm planning for myself. It was always every time it was the journey, it was it. So if it was about a target, then I would stop straight after my first summit, and then I realized, then that's it. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to do, and I don't have to, to continue doing what I do. So, the moment you realize the power of the journey, not the target, not the goal that you go, then you're gonna set a new goal, a new dream, and then you're gonna be doing it again and again and again. And I think if you follow a target, you will eventually stop. That's it. Follow the target. I can sit down. But then if you follow a dream, then you will never stop. Now, the most important things for me is to follow the gut, is your gut. So you try, if you try, I always say to people, try to listen to your the inner voice, not what's going in here. Our inner spirit will give you 100% the truth, and then great things will happen. And it happened because I've seen it. So always listen very closely to what excites you, what you are passionate about, what's your heart and your soul trying to say to you. And then you will hear your heart skipping a beat. You'll feel it. So you need to be, and discard all the headwinds, what people, what everyone trying to tell you and how they want to do it. And, so for me is the gut, is the soul, is the heart. The mind is there because the mind is the most powerful thing. It's, I always say 70% of climbing mountain or going to polar adventure is mentally. 10% is physically. You have to be fit. If you're not prepared, you're gonna fail. The other the other 10% is technically. You need to know all the technical stuff. You need to have the knowledge. And the last 10% is the money and the sponsorship. You need to be a good planner to know how to get it. So I would say that's exactly, and every one of us has an Everest in their life. And Everest could be absolutely anything. Could be your education, could be your family, it could be your career. How you're going to set to go from camp to camp to camp to reach to the top. That's up to you. That's you have to make that decision. No one going to make it to you, and nothing going to come just in a plate of gold. You have to work hard. You have to do everything you can do so you can achieve a bigger dream. And every time you open a door, there is second and third and fourth. There is so many doors in your life, but if you don't open that door, you're never going to be able to know what's behind the other doors. So
I really think that the most amazing, the most magical thing we get from all those journeys, and the big one, is to find who we really are in your essence, in our core. And it's really interesting to listening to you, because I used to say we need to learn how to think with our hearts and to feel with our minds. So making the shift, so that you can turn the mind connected to your heart, because emotions are what this energy in motion that drives people. And if we learn how to listen and to take the drive that it brings us, we really achieve amazing things. And another thing very interesting that you said is you died so many times and came back so many times. And this is another thing I've learned from life, is that people that know how to live the life they are meant to be are the ones that are not afraid to die, because death is transformation.
you have to be able to take the risk and the calculated. I left the Sheraton and I knew I have 2-3 years to become what I want to become. So I have to drop everything to start a new journey. So you have to have that heart to say, I'm going to do it. And I think when you ask, I always believed in this beautiful Sufi teacher that I have. He always told me, every time you're stuck, you always have to ask your heart. Don't think of your, go and sit, do your prayer, ask your heart, and your heart will never ever fail you. It's like a mother. The mother, you unconditionally, your mother. She want the best for you. That's exactly what your heart is.
Because the mind can deceive you.
Absolutely,
The
always,
mind can deceive you, yes.
always. But when you feel it, when you follow your heart, there is always sacrificing as well, and you might make mistake. But I can tell you, you can make this mistake. But one day when you're 90 or 100 years old and you're sitting in that chair, you will never ever regret. Never. For that mind, you're always going to be regretting things. Oh, I should think this way. But heart, you'll never, because you're making yourself happy. And the most important things is, when we say I love you to somebody, we always put ourselves first. We put love second. We put the person third. They're always the last one. So you are the, and then when you are fulfilled and you are happy and you have peace of mind, you will be able to make everyone happy with you. But if you're not, how are you going to make anyone happy? Because you'll always need something. You always need something. You always need the change. So, yeah.
Thank you. So you mentioned in some interviews that you were spiritually ready to start this new journey, like that vision that you got in your dream. Um, I really, really think that we must be connected with that spiritual side of ours, which is very either underrated or overrated nowadays, and it has I don't think it, most of the times, it's the best interpretation of what spiritual is, and being spiritually ready to do something. And I really would love to hear from you your your vision and your perception on what is being.
I think if you can't if you can't have a physical terms of like you will never be able to have a physical transformation until you have a spiritual transformation. And that spiritual transformation is about coming to a place where you feel content. That's the word. I think to be content, to be happy with yourself, then you can totally concentrate on what you do and your mind is not all over the place. I think that's the physical. And it's not, it's not in the start. It's not. Maybe there's a beautiful William Shakespeare saying, "It's not in the stars to hold our destiny, but in ourselves." So, I believe in my destiny, and I believe in something bigger than me. It's God, and I know everything I have is God, and because of that, I feel so powerful that I can do the impossible, and I'm always protected by that God. So, I mean, understanding spirituality is that you are open-minded to about everything that you do, and I think Sufism is something that it give me the power to understand life maybe better than I used to understand it. And I think this is will come from Jalaluddin Rumi, something that a man that I absolutely love. And there is a beautiful quote about Rumi, and he said that the wand is the place where the light enters you. And when he said the wands is everything that you did in life, all the hardship, everything that you go through, everything hard, this is will light your way up. So when you have any idea, then you know exactly where you're going. I think that's uh, when we when we hope, sometimes we hope is praying for rain, but faith always bringing an umbrella. Yeah, so that's the thing, is that we pray for something and faith will give us something. So if you pray and you have the faith, you will definitely be able to get it, but you have to understand it as well within your soul. And there is no spiritual teacher, no, in the whole world, better than your own soul. Is the soul that you can feel and you can go. So there is different school, there is different way, but I think the best school is your school, because everything that you learn, and you can learn everything from books, from people, and that's secondhand information. But the stuff that you learn in yourself, that's what's going to make you stronger, and that's what's going to make you see the way better. So but I guess speciality and everything that we do, it's really, it's not an easy subject, because each one of us have a different I think there is a beautiful quote by Paulo Coelho, because I love him, and it is about God. And he said, I understand once again that the greatness of God always reveals itself in the simple things. And I think the greatest of God's for me, it was that was dream. It was that dream I saw, that's because for me it wasn't just a dream, it was a message that was sent to me. So I took that, and I think I was ready to do it. You have to be ready. You cannot, and I think the spirituality is something that you you practice. So you have to get up in the morning and do your whatever meditation that you do. So you have to practice it, and you have to have also, you have to be um, you have to be peaceful in yourself. I think if there is so much going in your life, you won't be able to create. So yeah. So it's definitely not the easiest. You will never have an easy, you'll never have an easy, I would say, answer to this. You will never.
No,
Always,
no.
there is always something that we learn. So yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear from you your conception, because it's really interesting, because I really believe that God manifests itself in each one of us. So we all have this magic touch of God, whatever God means to each one of us, and whatever ways that wonder is revealed in our own lives. So it's a very personal experience, and it's okay. It's okay to be you and to feel that connection in a very personal way, because that's it. God is within us. It's here, and we all of it. We all have the touch of God in us. So in the most simple things. So it's when we learn.
Totally, and you have to go through your life. You have to keep breaking your heart until it's open. And breaking your soul until it shine. You have to be breaking your mind until it start giving you all the stuff you want. So it's not just about, so you have to go through it. You have to suffer to be able to understand it. It's not just about, oh, I did it, I'm great, I took the flag. No, I did it. I did it because, I suffered. I had to stop again and again. I have to go back training. I have to be disciplined. I have to do so much stuff. I have to sacrifice stuff. And I think sacrificing as well is it's very important when you do big things. If people around you will not understand it, and this is not sacrifice, they can go. They're not meant to be in your life. Somebody. Yeah, so we should not, be, why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Yeah, so why should I should just let myself go and do it. Why should I keep in this place and stuff? So, I think the more you do things, the more you will understand it better, because it's practice. It's like anything in life. You want to play football, you want to play basketball, you want to play, you train when you were little kids and stuff, you master it, you're going to be better and better. And with life, you just have to keep breaking things until you be able to master.
Yeah. And the more we expand ourselves as human beings and as as individuals. And yes, my dear Mustafa, Mustafa, um, it's been a very, very interesting conversation, and I could stay here for hours speaking to you. Um, you already said so many quotes, and you already said so many things. Um, it's really interesting to speak to you, and yeah, I don't even know what to say. You're very, very inspiring. And just one last message, because when we are like the the heroes that stay in the history books, because you will be on the history books as one of the 20 people that climbed the Grand Slam. Okay. So, but then I love this idea of having the anonymous heroes, and I call our life journey, I call it like the hero's journey. We are heroes in our own stories, and we all have a journey, you know. And some people are the anonymous heroes. They do great things, uh, just not as loud as we do. or you do, or some people do. So, one last message for any and everyone, every single anonymous hero that might listen to this conversation.
I would say for me, I think it's always been about the people, and I think help the people to grow, and you will grow alongside of them, and you'll always be remembered. But when you do things just for yourself, it will be forgotten very quickly. So that's I would give the message for anyone, and believe in your dream, and know that there is nothing is impossible, because I know, because I did it. And then I think the biggest mistake you can make in life is think that you have enough time. You don't have enough time. You need to do things. You have the thought, you have the dream, you have whatever. Do it now, and try to just follow your heart. I would say, the biggest advice from me: always follow your heart, because you will never regret it when you do.
Thank you. So, I really hope that we meet again one day in, you know, in the world. Maybe not climbing a mountain, but maybe on a tea shop somewhere in Scotland. Scotland is on my bucket list for traveling, because I have this fascination for Scotland for so many reasons, and one of them is people say that my old ancestors, MacDonald, they went to Spain, they became Maldonado, and so there are some theories, crazy theories, that say that
Ah,
my ancestors from the beginning of the ages, they might have come from Scotland. I have this fascination, so maybe one day on a tea shop on Scotland, and whenever you come to Lisbon, please feel free.
I will definitely.
Okay, it would be a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time and for inspiring us.
Amazing. Thank you. So, hope to see you.